Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Dan's Models. This is John sitting with Dan, and we are looking at some more HO scale stuff. And It looks like Bulkhead Flatcars this time.
Yeah, this is a pair of actually old MDC Roundhouse Bulkhead Flatcars that I had.
Well, what's MDC?
Model die casting.
Okay.
Same as Roundhouse, or used to be anyway, before Athearn bought them.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, I don't think I've heard of Roundhouse before. That's something new for me.
Yeah. I think Athearn's still using the Roundhouse name. I don't think they're using the MDC name anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, these are, by today's standards, not the greatest cars as they exist in stock form. And I'm not really sure if they really have a prototype or not. They're similar to a lot of Bulkhead flat cars that I've seen, but I think they're actually a little bit short. And I'm thinking maybe that was because in the old days they wanted everything to go around 18-inch radius curves.
That's awfully small for HO, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But so these are kind of, in a way, they're kind of bogus because I decorated them for cotton belt, and they're really not authentic because they're really not the exact right car body style, but they're close.
They look plausible.
Yeah, they look plausible. They're certainly good stand-ins until at some point maybe, can get some more authentic cars. But I did actually quite a bit of work to these to make them more, to make them look better compared to the, modern, more detailed freight cars that I get.
Yeah, one thing I'll tell you is that they don't look out of place with other stuff that I've seen you have. No,
and that was why I did a lot of work to them to try to, because that's one thing I've found is that if you have a bunch of cars that have molded on ladders and thick stirrups and everything looks like that, you can kind of get away with it. But if you have the really detailed cars with the, freestanding everything and fine stirrups, and then you put one of those other cars next to it, it just looks wrong.
Yeah.
So, at least to my eye, it does.
You have that special OCD that we talk about.
Yeah. So. Well, it just kind of ruins the illusion because it's well, okay, this car looks really good and this one doesn't look as good. So, to me, that doesn't work.
Well, you never see that in real life. It's like,
no.
Oh, this train looks really good. Oh, but that, although, though, actually, if you think about that, think about seeing a new car in a train that's lined with just old, decrepit looking, rusty,
but they still have the
graffiti,
It's not like one has really thick, funky looking stirrup steps on it and the other one doesn't,
Well, right, but I'm just talking about the overall look of it. Is a much newer look,
Right.
Like I've seen these in our Train Bonanza videos. I've seen hoppers or long strings of tanks or whatever, and you always have that odd one that either looks really new or really old.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it's a different way of looking at it, I guess. But you're right; they still don't look like they have the old sewer pipe handles.
Yeah. So I think I may have had these cars on a video podcast way back when.
Did you add the deck to it?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I did. Probably the most obvious thing was added the real wood deckings. I think those are from American Model Builders.
That sounds right.
And in this case, because I've seen other cotton belt cars like that, I didn't use the end pieces on the kit because the kit includes wood pieces to go up the bulkheads too, which some cars have. But most of the cotton belt cars that I've seen just had metal ends. And so I did that, and I painted the stripe up the middle. Actually, I painted these cars completely because they were originally in a different paint scheme.
Oh.
So I did them as cotton belt because I think that was the closest thing I could find to the body style of the car that looked like something that I would be interested in modeling. So since I like Southern Pacific, cotton belt was a natural fit there. I left the stock end ladders because I decided that replacing those was more work than I really cared to do on these cars.
Yeah, they look a little clunky.
Yeah, they are. If I had it to do again and I wanted to spend more time, that's one thing I might have done differently.
The grabs look pretty good, though.
Yeah, the grabs, I changed all the grab irons to freestanding grab irons. I put KD scale couplers on them. I put the train line air hoses, uncoupling levers, and the crossover platforms. And I also added when I painted the car, I did the end lettering on each one too. And the brake wheels are from Katie.
Oh, so those are aftermarket too.
Yeah, because the original brake wheel was awful. It just looked awful.
Like a Frisbee with holes in it.
Yeah, it was just nothing that looked like anything I'd ever really see on a train. So
A wagon wheel.
Yeah. So I did all that.
So Dan, I'm noticing that the grab irons on the end there get smaller as they go up.
Yeah, the one on the top is actually shorter than the other two.
Yeah.
So I actually had to custom make that. The two on the bottom I think are Tichy grab irons, but the one on the top was just short enough that I had to custom bend that myself. And also the vertical grabs that are up above those.
Mm-hmm. Two different sizes there too.
Yeah, I had to custom make those as well. I also changed the stirrups in the corners to aftermarket parts, and I also added the little. I'm not sure what that little thing is with the hole in it that sticks down, and where the truck is. It was like a little square with a smaller square hole in it.
It almost looks like some kind of a jack pad or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but these cars had them on it, so I added that. That's available as an aftermarket part from I forget. But anyway,
could it be something to tie a load somehow, or it's kind of low for that, huh?
Yeah, a little low for that. I'm not sure really what that is for. I'm sure somebody knows. But anyway, I've seen that on some similar cars. So the cars that I was basing these on, even though it wasn't exactly the right body style, had those things.
Yeah.
So I added them to these cars as well. Also, I did all the decal work. It's all from microscale decal sheets.
Yeah, it's funny because even as we started the episode of Dan's Models out, and you were talking about how they're not that good and they're not that detailed or whatever, I don't know. I mean, these look like they're pretty much on par with most of what I've seen in your collection. So,
well, yeah, thanks. That was the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I did do a lot of work on these cars to make them look better.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the time when you took some Tyco cars and turned them into something plausible.
Yeah, these weren't that bad.
Well, right. No, of course not. I don't think anything is that bad. I mean,
No, these were better than that. But, it does. It's kind of, sometimes you can take a car that, that's older and, if you work on it, you can make it look pretty good. So I also did some rudimentary detailing on the bottom. This isn't really an authentic brake system because it's missing some parts, but it looks decent while it's going down the track, which is really what I was after. I added some rods that go down to the trucks because the real car I was basing it on had that, and I also added some piping between the reservoir and triple valve and brake cylinder, and I added just a little bit of the piece that the brake cylinder attaches to actuate. That really should be going all the way across the car and should have other things coming off of it. But like I said, this was just to make it look better going down the track. I'm not trying to win a contest with this.
Yeah, that's what you usually say. This is not contest winning plumbing or whatever.
No, it isn't. It's not. It's really not correct. But it looks good while it's on the track, and that was the point. I also changed. Well, at least on that car that you're looking at, I changed to the 88 tread wheel sets. The other car I didn't. That has the regular 110 tread wheel sets. Yeah. But they all have metal. All my cars have metal wheels.
I'm really liking the weathering on the trucks. It makes them look nice and dirty. That's good.
I paint the wheel faces. I paint the backs of the wheels and usually the axles as well. Don't usually do a lot of weathering on the axles and the inside of the wheels, but I think just having them painted a gray or a brown color makes them look a little better, than if when you see the end of the car, keep in mind it's usually in shadows, so you're not going to see too much down there anyway, but I just think it looks a little better.
Once again, Dan, your attention to the details and adding details that make something more plausible, I think, makes these cars pretty darn good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Take one last look at them as they roll out of the picture, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.